on these money memories early on because I was like, I want to write a book, and I had to start thinking of ideas that I wanted to include in it. So quick shameless plug, my book is called Mind Your Money, and it's all about stories around money, right? Our lived experiences, my lived experiences. And so that story came up for me. And I was like, you know what? Isn't that interesting how in one hot summer, I learned 2 major money lessons, right? First, no hay dinero. There is no money. My parents immigrated to New York City from the Dominican Republic. No English, no education beyond the 3rd grade. They didn't know a single person, and they had no money. So our reality was that we were in a constant state of scarcity, right? The second lesson was more money, more problems, right? Look at the lyrics of that song. The more money we come across, the more problems we see. So the lesson there was trouble comes with wealth and affluence. Now, I was 8 years old, right? And these are just 2 of the phrases, the common money phrases that come up throughout life that I heard repeatedly, right? And there's so many more. Money phrases, money mantras, money messages, right? So I want you to think to yourself, just take a few seconds. What are some of the phrases that you've heard about money repeatedly throughout your life? When you have them, just call them out. Money don't grow on trees. Root of all evil. I know that one. Money can't buy happiness. Others. Take money to make money. I've heard scare money don't make money. I've heard them all, okay? Any others? Show me the money. What was that? What was that one? You got McDonald's money? You want to go to McDonald's? You got a McDonald's money. There's so many, right? We got food at home. Money burns a hole in your pocket. That costs too much. Costs an arm and a leg. I got to cut off my limbs for money. What is going on here? So I want you to think about these money phrases that we say all the time, right? And decide for yourself, which of these phrases would you categorize as positively framed? And how many would you say are negative? Money is the root of all evil. I'm going to stay right here. Money can't buy happiness. More money, more problems. Can't think of a single positive. Maybe show me the money. Okay, that was positive, I guess, right? We got one. So from the point where you first heard the sound of a plop, dropping that first coin into your very first piggy bank, you had already been fed significantly more negative money messages in your life than positive. And that trend only exponentially grows the older that you get. So what is that going to lead to? It's going to lead to these young money minds, so impressionable, already deeply rooted with negative relationships to money and negative money mindsets. And those little minds, they grow to become the brains in our human bodies that have a negative relationship with money, that don't want to look at a budget, that don't want to talk about the bad credit, don't want to think about the stock market, can't fathom looking at our credit card statements. That was me. It was probably you, right? But then something has to give. Something has to change. And so at the end of the day, what I realize, especially in my work now doing financial education, is that we have to decide for something to change. But how do we change things? It's such a big problem. We have such a huge financial literacy crisis in America, let alone globally. So how do we improve access to financial literacy education and change the relationship that Americans have with money? Well, there's 3 ways. The first way is the individual approach, right? Each individual person takes it upon themselves to increase their financial knowledge and improve their financial behaviors. They read all the books, they listen to all the podcasts, they change their behaviors, and they change their financial life, right? You've probably done this. That's why you're here. I have done this, but let me tell you, it was not easy. It was one of the most difficult mental challenges of my life, and it most certainly was not fun. It was lonely, it was isolating. And so there's a better way, and J.L. Collins, the GOAT of investing, he just said it. It's all about community. So the second approach is actually to make it a community-based change initiative, to attend conferences like this. This is why we're all here, because The science proves that you crave human connection the same way you crave food and water. So when you're here and we're making these connections, it's so good for the soul. You want to come back, right? But here's the problem with this. It's still fairly limited. It's capped to a certain amount of people for a short period of time. Think about beyond your lifetime and beyond mine, right? And so that's where the third type of change comes in, which is creating systemic change. Systemic change goes beyond you, beyond your children, beyond your children's children. For generations to come, it creates a change in the structures and systems that exist so that we can guarantee that for many, many decades and many, many centuries to come, people will have access to the education they need to thrive. So back in, 2018, I started to really think about how I could shift my career because I was just getting so exhausted. Posting videos on YouTube is so much work. Now, I am the world's biggest extrovert. I just want to talk all the time, and I want to talk to so many people. And YouTubing, I don't know if you know, but it's pretty lonely. It's just you sitting in a room talking to a camera, not a real person. So I just started to feel so sad inside. I'm like, I got to do something different. I got to be around people more. And then 2020 hit. It's just even worse, right? And so I've committed to really finding work that is going to allow me to connect with so many more people. But before that, I was at least trying online, right? And I would scroll through all of these different posts online, and I would see the memes. And I know that you've all seen the memes too, all right? I know you've seen them. I'm glad I learned about parallelograms instead of how to do my taxes. Really come in handy this parallelogram season that we're in right now. Or, you're almost 22, you should have learned about taxes in high school, girl. First of all, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, okay? I did learn some things in high school. Why? Why do we keep repeating cycles that clearly do not work? We, generation after generation, repeat the cycle of letting people learn about money by trial and error through the school of hard knocks, instead of helping people learn about money with formal instruction and formal education inside of real schools. It's a no-brainer. So around that time in 2018, when I was really looking for something different, I got an email, landed in my inbox while I was on a trip to Barcelona. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, and an email came to me from ngpf.org, which stands for Next Gen Personal Finance. Have you heard of them? Okay, some of you, amazing. I want every single person in this country to know about NGPF because it changed my life and it's going to change our country. It is the only organization that is fully committed to not only being about the work, but putting their money where their mouth is and funding the work. Making sure that high school curriculum is free for teachers, middle school curriculum is free for teachers on all topics: banking, budgeting, investing, taxes, insurance, the history of discrimination in finance. We're talking about everything: entrepreneurship, cryptocurrency basics, credit, everything. Because if you're talking about it or not, the teenagers are talking about it, and they don't have any guidance. So the mission of NGPF is to require a full semester standalone course of personal finance education in every single high school for high school graduation. So it needs to be a requirement to graduate. Just like we all have to take algebra, we all have to take biology, we all have to take English language arts, we all need to take personal finance. Yeah. Now, I consider myself so lucky because this email came to me and I was just not even expecting it. And I look at it, I'm like, Tim Ranzetta, who's that? I do some Googling. He's the founder of NGPF. And he and I, we share this, the passion for the mission. We know every single student in this country needs, wants, and deserves a guaranteed course, guaranteed access to this class. It can't be an elective, because only the lucky few who opt in, or the ones whose parents forced them to take it, or the ones who thought they signed up for personal fitness but then end up in personal finance. I've met students that happened to before, not gonna name any names. They're the ones who get lucky and get this information, and all the other ones don't. And it's not their fault. I would have definitely been the kid who did not choose this, because I'm looking at the schedule and looking at all the options for electives like robotics, fashion design, personal finance. Okay, I know which one I'm not picking, right? So I'm like, this guy, Tim, like, this is amazing that he came up with this idea for NGPF, and I have the same passion as him. We have that in common. But other than that, we're very, very, very different, okay? Tim, he likes to listen to Bruce Springsteen. I like Biggie, okay? Y'all know this about me, so we're different in that. Tim, he's a West Coast guy. He lives in California. He likes life on the West Coast. He's originally from New Jersey, but he's been in California for over 30 years, right? I'm an East Coast girl. I like going up and down between New York and Miami. Okay, that's where I like to be. For me, like, I just reached Coast 5 2-3 years ago, right? I'm early on my journey. Thank you. But I'm early on my journey, right? And that's all right. Tim, he's, how did the Donegans put it yesterday? Obese-fi? Tim became independently wealthy. He was a serial entrepreneur, still is, and had a lot of success in entrepreneurship. He decided, what better way to use my wealth, or at least some of it, to work towards a world where financial literacy is guaranteed and is available for free, and your school doesn't need to have the budget. Even if your school's underfunded or under-resourced, which the schools that I went to my whole life were, they're the least likely to get it, and yet they don't realize they don't have to spend $1. There's free curriculum. There's free teacher training. You can go onto the website and pull lesson plans, assessments, homework assignments, games, videos, activities, projects, budgets, everything. But teachers need to know about it. They need to know it exists. Now, I love NGPF because I started early by just visiting schools. Because, you know, Tim, he was like, Yanely, I just got to hire you. Like, I cannot let you just come on the podcast and then go about your life. Like, you need to join NGPF. I was like, no, I'm just trying to do my own thing. Like, I want to grow my channel. I want to write a book. I want to be a speaker. He's like, okay, yeah, you can do all of that. But you can also do NGPF. And so I was like, I don't know. Let's try it out. So I started by just visiting schools in the tri-state area. And in a 3-month period of time, I hit over 100 schools. In the Bronx, in Philly, in Jersey, right? And it was amazing. I'm talking to these students, man. They crack me up, like, oh. So I remember I was doing a volunteer taxes lesson in the Bronx, right? And this kid, I'll call him the class clown, all right? So he raised his hand, and he was like, but miss, like, why are you coming in here as a guest speaker for the day to tell us about taxes? Like, why are we not learning this stuff in the class? We're learning all this other stuff. We need to be learning this. And I was like, you're absolutely right. That was very eloquent. Like, I agree. I agree with you. And he's like, well, I don't understand why it's only one day, and then tomorrow we go back to the other stuff we were learning, and it's not going to help us like this. And I said, you should go and talk to your principal about that, and you should start a petition and get all your friends to sign it and see if they will add personal finance class. And then he was like, yeah, because you know what, miss? Like, I got my first paycheck, and I was confused because, like, in the pay stub, they took some of my money and gave it to a girl named FICA, and I don't know her. I don't know her. Who is she? And can I get my money back? And I was like, look, dude, like, you work in America, and as an American worker, you are required by law to pay your government income taxes, all right? And those particular taxes, they'll come back around and benefit you one day when you get, Social Security benefits and some Medicare. And he was like, whoa. So you telling me that the government requires me to pay taxes to their system, but the government does not require me to learn and understand those taxes or even how to file them in their education system? I was like, what is your name and where do you live? I need you to come with me when I go to the State House and talk to the senators and representatives to convince them to pass this bill. These students, they are fired up. They know the value, and they want to learn it. They don't know where to go. There's so much noise on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, and they don't know who to trust. They don't know what information is trustworthy. And it's understandable why they're so overloaded. But the other thing is, the way they've been taught just doesn't work. All the research prior to 2012 shows that financial literacy education is not effective. That the financial knowledge increases, the test scores are better, but the financial behavior doesn't change. It's like, you know that you should be flossing, but do you floss? I floss, okay, but a lot of people don't. But so here's the thing, right? Like, how do we deal with that conundrum? And so for me, what I realized was, if we keep doing this thing where we show up in the front of the classroom and we put a workbook in front of students and we give them some multiple choice questions, or worse nowadays, we pop them in front of a computer and have them do some video modules and call that an interactive and engaging education. No, we need to actually make it hands-on, tactile, and fun. And that is what NGPF is all about. Every single person at the team, including myself, is a former classroom teacher. So we know what makes kids have fun. We know how teenagers are gonna actually come alive in the classroom. And so we created a curriculum that's hands-on. It's online-based, but the majority of the activities and lessons require you to get up, move around the classroom, and do something. For example, there's a bean game that we have in the curriculum, and so you walk in the classroom, your teacher gives you a Ziploc bag with 20 beans on it. You get to your desk, there's a budget sheet. You got housing over here, so if you wanna live by yourself in a bachelor pad, okay, 3 beans. Oh, that's too much? All right, live with a roommate, 2 beans. Oh, you don't wanna spend no beans? Live at home in the basement. Eat mommy's rice and beans, no beans. Okay? Oh, you like 5G internet. You want gas and electric, 2 beans. You want a car? Okay, yeah, you got a car payment, you got gas, you got car insurance, car maintenance, 3 beans. You don't like it? Okay, 1 bean. You gotta, take the public transportation system or have a bike. They start to do this until they realize, like right away, 20 beans are gone. And they're like, hey, yo, miss, I got no beans left for fun. Like, where's the fun stuff? I know, welcome to the real world. They get upset, and I'm like, okay, look, so just reallocate your beans, reprioritize in such a way where you could free up 1 or 2 beans for fun. Now, where are you gonna pull the bean from? You're gonna stop paying for health insurance? Ooh. You're gonna stop saving? So this is the decision-making and the critical thinking and the values-based budgeting system, right, followed in that unit. My ultimate favorite activity, though, is called How to Make a Mutual Fund. As soon as you walk in the classroom, your teacher hands you an index card. On the back of the index card, you have a company name, a stock ticker symbol for that company, a publicly traded company in the US. You got a 12-month period of time, so you see like the duration of time that you held that stock, and you have the performance of that stock during that 12-month period of time. So your job is to go to your seat, quickly do some research, and find out a little bit about this company that you have just purchased stock in. Next, you have to find a buddy in the room. Get up, walk around, start talking to people. Hey, what company do you got? What do you do? What sector are you in? What's your performance looking like? And you start talking to people, and then you create a portfolio of 2 stocks when you buddy up with a partner. Then you have to find the average performance of the 2 stocks in the portfolio, right? Because now you don't just get what you had, you have another stock in your portfolio. So now they're understanding diversification. Then they partner up with another group of 2, creating a group of 4, maybe 5 or 6, depending on the classroom size. And so now they've created a small little mutual fund. They then make a little circle, start doing the math, find the average performance of all of the stocks in that mutual fund. And then some of them get excited. Oh, we hype, we got 12% return over here. Then another group over here, oh, negative 4%, what's going on? Our fund's not making no money, miss. Happens sometimes. Then the teacher comes in, and I love this part. You didn't pick none of those stocks. I handed it to you when you walked in the door. I did a lot of analysis. I did a lot of research. I picked those stocks. I'm the mutual fund manager who is actively managing your mutual fund, and I need to take 1% off of the return that you just looked at. So, oh, you're 12%? Now it's 11. You're negative 4? Now it's negative 5. They're like, no, miss, come on, what you doing? We were trying to make money. They love this stuff, and I love this stuff. Like, I get jealous. Like, man, I wish I learned that way in class. I wish I got that class and I got these activities, and then my teachers knew this to teach it to me. So this is the passion that I bring to this work. I bring this passion because we need it. I think back to when I started. There were no shows. There was no popular culture stuff about money. I came across a Susie Orman book called Women and Money, and that's how I got into it. I paid off my credit card debt, and then I got hooked. I started reading The Millionaire Next Door, The Simple Path to Wealth, Your Money or Your Life, all the books. I got obsessed with this. Eventually, I found I Would Teach You to Be Rich. I'm like, wow, another brown kid of immigrants. Wow, I relate so much to this. This was so cool. And then the book went New York Times bestseller. The Netflix show came out. I'm like, wow, I love this. Make some noise if you've seen the Netflix show. So good. good. Okay, so now the next part of what I'm about to say, it is not about Ramit, but I'm going to use Ramit as an example because my heart was broken about a year ago as I was listening to a podcast interview that went viral on Twitter. And I quote, "A lot of people in personal finance are surprised by this, but no, I actually do not advocate adding a personal finance class to high schools." Oh, what are you doing? You just took my heart, put it into a million pieces, threw it on the floor, and then stomped on the pieces. Like, what do you mean? Personal finance education is what you're about, it's what we're all about. How can we not support it? They went on, the conversation continued. You know why? Because number one, who's gonna teach the course and how they're gonna get trained? I smiled. Like, oh, so this is a problem of lack of information. Y'all don't know what's happening. I've been so intimately involved in this work for about 10 years that I know it so intimately, and I think everyone else must know what's going on, but people don't know. So let me come up here and answer some questions and dispel some myths. Who's gonna get the training? Who is going to teach it and who's going to get the training? NGPF has about 100,000 teachers, mostly through word of mouth, who have signed up on their website and used the curriculum to teach their students. And we have provided, not the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours that you need to be an expert at something, try 430,000 hours of free teacher training that we have provided. I myself teach investing, advanced investing, and cryptocurrency basic certification courses to these teachers. They love it. All right, so let's move on to the next question because that's not really an issue. Who's going to create the curriculum? And do you think I want banks putting their curriculum in public schools across the country? No. Oh, I'm with you. I 100% agree with this. It is problematic when you see these kids doing worksheets and the logo of the bank and the branding is everywhere. Come on. You know, when they turn 18 and they're thinking about getting a credit card maybe or needing a loan, they're not going to do any research. They're going to be like, oh, I know that logo. I've seen it. Come on, this is not propaganda. This is education. NGPF's curriculum is fully funded by an endowment fund that was created by our co-founder, Tim Ranzetta. So we are unbiased. We don't take money from financial institutions. We don't do relationships with banks and credit unions. And that's how a good curriculum should be, unbiased. Next, we can't even agree on basic fundamental truths in this country. So how are we going to have a discussion about personal finance? Wrong again. An affiliated organization from NGPF called the Mission 2030 Fund was created in 2021. And I work there as an advocate. Yes, I'm an author, a content creator, a speaker. I also work as a director at NGPF and an advocate at the Mission 2030 Fund. I'm a busy girl. But as an advocate, I actually travel around the country. I wish it was the world. I travel around the country, and I work with lobbyists and lawmakers. I've met governors, treasurers, senators, representatives, folks from education leadership, and I get to show them the data and show them what the teachers are doing and what the students are doing, and I get to convince them that a bill proposal requiring financial literacy is critical, and that they need to do it, and they need to vote yes, and they need to make this happen for their state. Let me tell you a quick story. In 2022, I was in Florida. I had just moved to Florida in 2021. So I started working there to advocate for the bill proposal that was active. In March of 2022, I was there in the room when Governor DeSantis signed the financial literacy bill that will require a semester of personal finance for every student in high school in the state of Florida. 3 months later, the exact same bill with some differences in language, but very similar bill requiring financial literacy for a full semester course in the state of Michigan was signed by Governor Whitmer. If you know even a thing about politics, you know how different they are. Come on. And they both agree. So we can agree, and we do agree. 88% of U.S. Americans over the age of 18 say that this should be required in their state for high school graduation, either for a semester or a full year. We agree. All right? This is not an issue. Next, kids don't really care about learning about personal finance until it's relevant to them. First of all, kids? We're talking about high school financial literacy. These kids, we're talking about 16 and 17-year-olds. They're young adults. We should talk about them as such and treat them as such and listen to what they have to say. They've said to me, personally, I want this, I need this. Why is it not happening? They do care because they're trying to save up for their first car. So they need to understand car premiums. And they have a job and the paychecks come in and they don't know who FICA is. So they want this and they need it, all right? Last one. The research is quite mixed on its effectiveness. Wrong again. We must be citing research from 2001 or 2012. Since 2014, in the past even 5 to 7 years, so much new cutting-edge research and studies have been done. A meta-analysis looking at all the prior research proves that it is effective and it does change behaviors. If you get a personal finance class in high school, you're more likely to have a higher credit score, which means lower interest rates if and when you borrow, which means higher savings rates. You have so many real implications and positive benefits from this class. This is garbage. All right, so here's a quick update on the progress of the movement. When I started this work in 2018, 2019, only 5 states had a requirement. Now, as I stand before you, 25 states. Yup. We did that, but not only did we quintuple it in a couple years and we got to half of the number of states in the country, but we got a long way to go. There's work to do. And so that is why I'm up here on this stage today. I'm here because I want to take fire that we all love so much and I want to light it up under all your rich butts. And I want you to get involved and leverage your financial independence to fight for systemic change in financial education. You can do it. It's not too hard. This is where we are right now. The states with the golden outline already require it for a full semester as a standalone course, not embedded for a couple weeks in some math class, business, or economics class. No, its own full semester, 18 weeks or more, dedicated course of instruction. These states are doing that. It's amazing. And then we have in another 12 states, 29 active bills right now that you can go and support. You can show up at a hearing and testify in support of the bill like I did in Indiana and in Florida and I do in so many other states. You can just send an email or a letter saying, I support this legislation. You and all your homies should vote yes. Okay, you can do this. I do it. It's not extremely difficult. It's a little time consuming, but with some passion and your story, you can make the difference. Now, I just want to tell you one quick cautionary tale. The state of New Mexico this year, they passed the bill, and everybody was like, yay, let's add New Mexico to the golden button. No. Every bill is not created equal. You got to look at the bill language. In New Mexico, they said it can fulfill a math unit. Unit? That's not a course. A unit is a week, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Teachers know that this language does not suffice. Okay, or it can be embedded. When I hear the word embedded, I'm like, oh, no. We're not gonna put it into another class. That class is another class. Teach that topic. You need a separate semester for this, so you can go through all the topics, because this is a comprehensive course. Oh, you can put it into an existing elective. Elective again, with the only some kids are gonna get it, and the kids who need it the most are not gonna get it. This is a social justice issue, an equity issue. 100% of kids need to take this, and the teens need it the most. That's why we push for high school, junior and senior year preferably, because the data shows that is when it's just in time. And finally, it says, or the district could decide to make it a half-credit board requirement for their district. Or what about all the other districts? The language just has too many loopholes, and it just doesn't get the job done to the standard that it needs to happen. So we're really strict about it. We call it the gold standard, which is full semester, standalone, personal finance course instruction, not shared or split between other topics, and every student is guaranteed access. So that means it has to be a graduation requirement. All right, y'all, where can you insert yourself? Anywhere on this continuum. All right? The least intensive effort is teach a lesson. Show up at your local high school. Be like, y'all need to learn about taxes? Let me tell you who FICA is. All right? You can start an investment club. This is the highest demand thing right now. I have teachers emailing me, hey, I need help starting an investment club. I don't know anybody here who knows about investing that much. I don't even know what's in my 403B. Can you help me with that? Yes, and I got friends, 5 friends who can help you too. Okay? All right, teach a course. Show up once a week or twice a month and teach a course, because sometimes the teachers, they're understaffed. There's not enough teachers and there's not somebody willing or able to do it. Or the teachers haven't taken the training yet and they themselves don't feel confident about the expertise in this content area. But you do, right? Mentor a teacher. Give them your cell phone number. Tell them, hey, you have a lesson coming up that you're not really sure about how to teach it or what the content is. Just call me, text me, let's go grab a coffee, and I will help you get the confidence and the knowledge to teach that class with confidence. You can also advocate. This is my favorite, right? Advocate locally means at the school board or at your local high school. So if they have just an elective, All right, they took the first step. You can help them push to a graduation requirement. You can also talk to the school district and say it should be required for all the schools in this district, and I can help make that happen and show you the data as to why you should do it. Or you can advocate at the state level, which is another thing that I do. You can go to the state house, you can testify, you can write to elected officials, you can tweet at them, call them out. You know, hey, I see that you didn't vote to support this, what's up? My vote is up for grabs. You are their constituents, and they care what you have to say. Slide in their DMs, end up in their inbox, and they will take you seriously. All right, so if you want to do one or any of these more, right, go ahead and click on this QR code and give me your quick information. I'll reach out to you and tell you where you can insert yourself. I'll help you find a local teacher who might need your support or where you can get an investment club. And I want to leave you with this. If you do this, it is so powerful. And the next generation will have a chance to reframe their money mindset. When they hear more money, there are more problems, they're going to be like, no, more money, more opportunity. More money, more saving, more learning, more helping, more giving, more action. I can do more, I can be more, I can improve the world, I can improve my community, I can improve our country when I have more money. And so be part of this change with me. I urge you, all right? We all know FI is better with friends, and education is also so much better when it feels like we're all friends and we're learning together. Let's give that to the next generation. Thank you so much.